To get some more perspective on the economic impact of what could be, but also what is with the markets, I'm joined now by Amanda Lang, who, of course, hosts Taking Stock on BNN Bloomberg. Hi, Amanda. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for making the time. I think you might have an audio issue. I hope that they're able to fix that. I'll try just with a question and see if I can hear you. Now I've got you. Okay, great. Excellent. I just wanted to start off on the markets. And if this was what you would have anticipated as quickly as Donald Trump said what he did this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely would expect to see markets be jittery. But as you hear from political leaders and also from business leaders, it's the uncertainty that's so difficult. Markets are forward pricing mechanisms, and so they will, once there's clarity on the tariffs and counter tariffs, start to try to price in the effect on profits. This was actually a modest decline based on what could happen. And so watch the markets as the days unfold. If these tariffs stay in place, and that's the warning we've had from our central bank governor as well, it's the long-term damage that's done if they stay in place. If they're short, if it's a shock, we can all withstand that. So that's really the next big question, Vash, is how long are they with us?
And as far as the markets go, do you anticipate, for example, if these tariffs do come into effect overnight, that the impact will be even more pronounced tomorrow?
I think we'll continue to see jitters, although the markets will be trying to price in sort of a balance. To be honest, the big stock markets in the U.S. are now being driven by a handful of big names, and they may be insulated for a long time by these tariffs. The real damage will first be felt in consumer products, in some of those integrated industries. And so it may take a little bit longer to show up on the broad indices. You will see pain in individual companies for sure. But I think it'll take a little bit longer to see a big downdraft in stocks. It will come because this will create recessionary, certainly in Canada, this could create a recession. That's all of the makings of a decline in output. And you may well see, of course, a drop in U.S. household spending as well if this goes on long enough and we have retaliatory measures that take effect. So that all takes some time. I don't want to guess for you what the markets are going to do, but I would expect to see a lot of volatility as the markets try to figure it out.
I think there's a lot of volatility, in the anxiety levels of Canadians right now who are worried about their own kind of economic futures. You mentioned the timeline, right? It depends how long these tariffs are in effect. If you are delineating or trying to ascertain what the impact will be in the short term for Canadians right now, for example, who are watching this and worried their jobs could be on the line, what would you be able to quantify or qualify for us?
So what I would say is that some of the industries that have had this telegraph, so steel and aluminum are two good examples, have worked really hard in the last month and a half to try to get in front of this. And they've bought themselves anywhere from 6 weeks to 3 months. In other words, they've shipped inventory south. They've tried to make sure their customers are satisfied so that they can wait out a short-term tariff game. If that's what happens, we may be okay. You might see production slow down, but jobs may be just fine. The big question mark, and this is where unfortunately the anxiety continues, is we don't know what the president is playing for. We don't know if this is a negotiating tactic or if it's a long-term structural change in our trade relationship. If it's the latter, then yes, there will be layoffs. There will be production declines. There will be massive declines in our exports. The bank thinks 8.5%, and there will be a couple of years of recession. So this is that's the long-term scenario. My advice would be, don't do anything until we know, because your job is still safe as long as it's safe, and anxiety doesn't help any of us. And so as hard as it is, we have to kind of try to keep our worry as low as we can as we get our bearings and what this really is going to mean.
Okay, Amanda, I'll leave it there. Really appreciate your analysis tonight. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
That's BNN Bloomberg's Amanda Lang.